Hello, Rodney. Hello, Jack. We're going to talk World Championship Wrestling. I think this aired Saturday, June 15th, 1985. A pretty good episode, I thought, of World Championship. Probably one of the best I've seen. How about you guys?
Yep, I agree with that.
Really, it was a really good show. It opened up. I think this match was from the Omni. I'm not certain, but I think this match was from the Omni. Magnum TA and Dusty Rhodes against Tully Blanchard and Abdullah the Butcher. Magnum reverses an attempted suplex by Tully, and then he gives the tag to Dusty, and Dusty comes in and starts clearing house. And he body slams Abdullah, which seemed like that could have been very detrimental to both of those guys.
Yeah.
And then the sleeper for Tully, and then it freeze frames and goes. I thought this was a great way to open the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought this was just superb. Tony Schiavone is flying solo on this program. Evidently, Nikita Koloff did not like David Crockett's commentary. He was not alone, but I don't know what happened. They never talked about it, but he wasn't on the show, and they said he suffered an injury at the hands of Nikita Koloff. But now he had been on several of the shows. Now, had he been saying he didn't like Nikita Koloff?
I don't recall him ever saying he didn't like him. But I saw the incident with David Crockett. David Crockett was interviewing Ivan Koloff, and he told him during the because he was talking about Ric Flair, and talking about why Ric Flair's dodging Nikita Koloff and etc. And David was just being obnoxious. I mean, he really was obnoxious, and he told at one point, he said, "Listen, just be quiet for a minute." And then and all this time, Nikita's standing in front, and he's kind of going, "Did he just tell my uncle to shut up?" And then he turns and he gives him the Russian sickle, and that was the end of that.
Was that not on Worldwide?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was really good, and like I said, David was really aggressive with Ivan in that, and like I said, he told him to shut up at one time, and then that was like, did he tell him to shut up? Well, he just kept on, and he turned around. He kind of deserved it.
Well, there you go. Well, if he deserved it, then he deserved it. All right, Jack, the first match on the program was Dick Slater and Buzz Sawyer against Ron Rossi and Mark Hill. What'd you think about the match, Jack?
I thought it was awesome, mainly because I don't think they ever tagged Ron Rossi in. But it was it was very aggressive. It was very well paced. There was not a moment that somebody wasn't doing something. And if you're going to basically just job a guy, this is the way you do it. You know, you don't slow down. I thought it was a great match.
Rodney, did you like the match?
Yeah, it was pretty decent. And then we got to see both Buzz Sawyer's power slam, but unusual with Dick Slater using a figure four. Of course, we find out later on he's working up to the match with he and Ric Flair. So that's the reason I think he used it in that match.
Well, then Tony Schiavone interviews Manny Fernandez. The interview made no sense whatsoever. I'm sorry, but I didn't understand what he was even talking about. Did y'all get it, Jack? Did you get this?
I didn't.
If I could only read lips, I always turn the volume down when he's speaking. So if I could have read his lip, I might have been able to understand it, but I don't read lips.
I just didn't get it. He needed to explain it better than he did. I mean, I think he was talking about Vietnam and 15 years too late, but it didn't make any sense. He needed to tell that story just a little better. Then Raging Bull Manny Fernandez went against Randy Barber. He did the double thrust, just a typical Manny Fernandez match. It didn't really stand out to me. How about you guys?
Yeah, I agree with that. And Randy was always a good hand. He could have given him a little something and made that match a little bit more interesting. But again, it was a typical Manny match where Manny's not going to give anybody the time of day. So that's what it is.
I found out when you fast forward it and get him going in fast motion, it's a lot better.
Hey, I will tell you this. Old Randy Barber got them people riled up at the beginning of the match.
They did.
I mean, he was showing that he could rile them up. Then Tony Schiavone says that Dusty Rhodes has sustained a serious injury at the hands of Tully Blanchard with Baby Doll. Dusty is coming out. He's wearing dark sunglasses and a huge bandana underneath his right eye. He does this interview. And what did y'all think about the interview from I guess it was supposedly his office, right?
Yeah, and playing some David Allan Coe music as they segued into that. I thought it was pretty good.
Well, maybe maybe I got this out of context right here. Maybe they showed a match of that, or was this during this? Was this the clip that came up next?
Inside, they were talking about what happened with Tully Blanchard and Baby Doll. They don't show what happened on TBS. I guess TBS wouldn't allow it shown. But it actually is from the beginning part where we just saw with Tully Blanchard and Abdullah against TA and Dusty. It was the continuation. A Baby Doll comes into the ring with a wig. She hands Tully Blanchard something, and then apparently they do a number on him. We don't see it. I guess it couldn't pass the censors at TBS.
But that is the interview I'm talking about. He did do the interview, and he had photographs behind him. Okay, all right. I had a moment. I had a moment that I didn't think I was right, which could be the truth. Who knows? All right. Then the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, against Larry Clark. Jack.
Oh, I love this match. Jimmy Valiant is just so energetic. And it wasn't a short match, but very entertaining. And I got to hand it to this guy. It's the first time I'd ever seen him, but he did a great job working with Jimmy Valiant. I mean, he was there for everything Jimmy wanted to do, which just makes Jimmy look even better. So it was good.
Yeah, Jimmy Valiant always at some point he did kiss Tony Schiavone at the beginning of this.
He did.
That was so funny. The referee a smooch too.
Yeah, I don't think the referee, Steve Gregory, wasn't his name? What was his name? Steve Gregory? What was his name?
I don't remember.
Whatever the guy's referee's name was, he didn't particularly put it over very well, I noticed. He wasn't going for that at all. Then Ric Flair comes out and does his interview, and this is the first time he mentions Space Mountain on this interview.
Right. And then he also talks about Nikita Koloff, Magnum TA, talking about being the world champion, and talks about, they don't talk Dusty this time, but he did definitely talk about Nikita Koloff and Magnum TA on this one.
Ric Flair was good in this interview. It was a different interview than he's done before. Don't you think, Jack?
Yeah, it was very good.
This is what he said I guess it was almost the end of the interview. He said, I want to do a special announcement to all the tourists that are driving through Georgia. You don't have to go to Florida. Space Mountain is right here. And then he starts the Space Mountain from that point on. And then we get to see Kamala, the Ugandan giant. Actually, it was Kimala on this show. They spelled it actually as Kimala. I noticed on the Chiron there. With General Skandar Akbar against Alan Martin. Jack?
They were every bit as exciting on TBS as they were in Mid-South.
Yes.
So
I thought it was refreshing to see Kamala and Akbar on the show. It just gave something different to the show. It was somebody we hadn't seen in since it started. But I thought it was a good addition for Kamala, and we could have at least got him an interview out of Akbar while he was out there too, especially asking the reason why he was there. Magnum TA at the desk, apparently setting up some matches with TA and Kamala. Of course, they could have showed some stuff, I guess, from Mid-South as well, because the show had just played on TBS, prior to them taking over Sunday nights on World Championship Wrestling, the best stuff.
Hey, I noticed on this, though, Kamala comes from the top turnbuckle and does the big splash from the top.
That's right. And because in the Mid-South, it is a disqualification to come off the top rope.
Well, I feel pretty bad for Alan Martin when he had to take that thing, because that looked kind of brutal. So
I always love the response of the crowd when they see Kamala. I always love the response of the crowd.
And he also did the thing where he had to be reminded to turn the guy over after that. I thought that was a pretty good thing as well. And right after that, Magnum TA, and this time return match evidently against Carl Styles. I thought Carl had a chance. I thought it was going to go long. 28 seconds, bell to bell. It was over. Poor old Carl can't win for absolutely losing. Hey, I will have to say this. The guys, the enhancement talent was a whole lot better in this TV show.
Tremendously better.
And
they must have not had a sign up at the front of the studio saying we just need wrestlers. I think they didn't do that this week.
I believe I did hear that they were doing the tapings now on Saturday, so that means Mike Jackson's crew would be available for Saturdays and not working Mid-South on Wednesday nights.
All right, there, Rodney. After that, Tony Schiavone is interviewing. Hey, by the way, I love this show without David Crockett on it. I thought it was love you, David Crockett, but I thought it was a lot better without him going. Watch it. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just can't stand. Anyway, Buzz Sawyer, Dick Slater come out to an interview, Rodney.
Yep. The Slater is out there doing his talking. He's talking about Flair, which I alluded to earlier that he did the figure four in his match. He's talking about Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, talking about what happened with Brett Sawyer the week before. Just tremendous. And then, of course, Buzz, super intense, certainly.
Yes. And then we go, Jack, the NWA National Tag Team titles on the line. Ole and Arn Anderson, the champions, defend their titles right there on television against the Italian Stallion and Chief Joe Lightfoot. Jack, what did you think about this match?
I thought that was a great matchup. And Joe was tremendous in this match. I mean, why he wasn't getting used is beyond me, because he was just flawless in this match and looked fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really good.
Rodney?
Yeah, tremendous. When he finally makes the tag with Italian Stallion, he's a house of fire. People were really responding. I mean, the Andersons did the right thing, got the heat on Italian Stallion, so they make the tag, and Joe came in a house of fire. Of course, then he was stopped and then stomped, and then it's all over. Corkbuster, and then the flying knee drop or knee off the top rope from Ole, and then that was the end. Referee actually stopped the match in this one.
Well, did y'all see the slow-mo on this top rope knee coming down on Lightfoot?
Yeah, I saw it.
That seemed like that could have been very dangerous, because he actually came down more on his back than he did his arm. And man, I'm sorry, but that had to hurt. That had to hurt because it just didn't seem like it hit where it needed to hit. But it was a great match for television. That was a spectacular match. And Ole and Arn showed why they are some of the greats in professional wrestling. They really had a good match with Italian Stallion and Joe Lightfoot. Chief Joe Lightfoot had been wrestling for a long time right there in Georgia, because in 1982, I think he was wrestling in Georgia. He was great then. I mean, he didn't get a push then either, so it never made any sense.
The only thing he needs to do is watch out for those top ropes. You never know when your foot's going to get caught on it.
Yeah, he did. Knoxville, Tennessee. He thought Rodney had grabbed his leg as he was jumping over the top rope, and his headdress came over top of his face. It was an embarrassing situation for old Chief Joe Lightfoot, but he was trying to blame someone else. He just went over the top rope. And then Tony Schiavone interviews Tully Blanchard with Baby Doll. I thought this was great. What do you think, Ray? I thought this.
Oh yeah, I mean, he really stuck it to Dusty in this one, and I'm gonna just tell you honestly, I think Tully is turned out, as far as I'm concerned, on this show, to really be the top star. I really do, especially with the rivalry with he and Dusty. The interviews are he's not doing any hollering. He's just telling it like it is. Dusty's, you come out here, you said bad things about Baby Doll, and this is what happens to you when you say bad things about Baby Doll. I think one of our insiders was talking about that. Tully actually threw a fireball on Dusty, which we did not see, and I do remember seeing that in other videos.
Jack, what did you think about this interview? Because really, what Tully Blanchard was saying was kind of true. He said, Dusty, you come out here and you said something, you got hurt. You did something else, and I hurt you again. And then I hurt you again. I've hurt you 3 times now. What do you think is going to happen to you the next time? I might cripple you next time. That was just tremendous interview by Tully Blanchard.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, one of the key things about being an effective heel is that you have to justify why you're such a bad guy. And he does this with every interview that he does. He justifies why he is the way he is. And he did it. He just cemented it here again. I love the way he uses the truth. Now, he may embellish it a little bit. And he uses it to his advantage, but it's him.
I love the line to Dusty, bark in someone else's yard.
Yep.
That's what he told. And I love that line. It was fantastic.
Tully was so good this time. Tully.
I really, like I said, I think he's shining. I think he's outshining everybody right now on this show.
After the commercial, we're back with Tony Schiavone, and for the first time on this program, and I really enjoyed it. That the only problem was, I think the mic must have been in the other room somewhere, and it was Nikita Koloff in street clothes with Ivan standing behind him. From now on, they probably need to put the mic closer to the guys when they're talking. But that's in the Omni. That is actually in the Omni in Atlanta, where the dressing rooms and stuff are. They kind of have a curve because the offices were around in that same vicinity years ago in World Championship Wrestling. It was a good interview, and so I'm gathering Nikita Koloff had a return match coming up with Ric Flair, maybe in the Omni. Good interview.
And this was different because Nikita did all the talking.
Yeah,
and it looked very good with Ivan in the background just nodding his head. Looked very, very good, and it came off just brilliant.
I thought Nikita at any time was going to pull the Incredible Hulk thing and rip out of that shirt that was tight as them sleeves were. That was awesome.
He looked good in that thing. He took up almost the whole aisle way. Nikita was really good. Nikita was tremendous wrestler and had it from the beginning. So we have to give him that. Then the Barbarian with Paul Jones goes against Jason Walker. I can't say much about this because on the video I watched, it just went off, and then all at once it came back.
There was technical difficulties, or as we like to call it, another day at Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. And it came off, and it's funny. Apparently, the Barbarian watched the Kamala's match and decided to come off on the guy off the top rope.
Yeah, he did the headbutt.
It was a headbutt, though.
Yeah. Evidently, they lost. They either did that, or they knew the match was so bad that they just said there's something wrong with it.
I'm just wondering if it's actually the tape. The tape that people had was the problem.
Yeah, I think that was it.
No, actually, on the one I watched, it came up and said technical difficulties. Will return in just a moment. That was what was on that. Jason Walker was the guy that was wrestling against him, and Jason, great wrestler. And but we didn't get to see much of the match because it just wasn't there. So, and then I enjoyed. I thought it was tremendous. Again, while Tully Blanchard is so good at what he did. Tully Blanchard with Baby Doll. I think the World Television title might have been on the line on this against Gerald Finley. Jack, what did you think about this?
Very smooth match. Again, Tully just he made Gerald Finley look like $1 million. And Gerald, to his credit, was able to step in and cash that check that Tully wrote for him. So it was very good. That crowd, they just knew they were fixing to see Gerald Finley beat him. I mean, that's how good Tully knows how to tell a story in that ring. It was just a great match.
Rodney, this is what I thought about this. He he took over the whole match. Finally, Tully got mad at him and showed, hey, if I get mad at you, I'm going to whip you and I'm going to beat you. And it told a great story in this match. What did you think, Rodney?
This was, like I said, Tully is the star now, as far as I'm concerned. Yep. I think he overshadows everybody, and it's because of what he just did. You look forward to seeing the next Tully Blanchard match. You don't look forward to seeing the next Barbarian match. I won't go any further because I'll be making apologies. But anyway, Tully is. This was perfectly. This is how you do. This is how you put together a TV match right here, and it didn't last long once Tully took back over. Went right into the slingshot, and that was it. And so it was absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect match.
All right, then another great match takes place. Ric Flair's out there with his robe. He's telling him why he's the legend. I'm Slick Rick. I'm Space Mountain. Just awesome interview. And he's running all the people down. He talks about Magnum TA and tells them he needs to get a fancier clothes. He says he don't want that. Magnum TA's got $1,000 and says he can beat him in 10 minutes. He can beat him in 10 minutes. Jack, what did you think about this whole entire angle?
I think that was a main event match in any arena that you go to. I mean, these guys, two guys, top of their game, giving it everything they had in that match. And the crowd response was tremendous because they were seeing a main event match and they realized that. And it was just great. I mean, it was just great back and forth. Flair knew how to make him look good. Magnum knew when it was time for him to give that back. It was just great. Two guys who knew how to work.
Now, this was a non-title match, 10 minutes. Ole Anderson comes out during this. And this is what I thought was very interesting in the commentary in this match. He says, I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag. Right here, Ole and Arn Anderson, you're looking at our cousin, Ric Flair. Had they not even told that story? I think they did in Mid-Atlantic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Never on TBS, that must have never been told because they made a big deal out of it. That was a powerful moment, I think, on television because for wrestling fans that didn't know, they're going, hey, man, no wonder they like each other so much. Something else that I thought was good. Ole was magnificent in the commentary here. How about Rodney? What did you think?
I loved it. How he said that Flair had him in the figure four at the end of that match. He gave up. What are you talking about? He won $1,000. He had him in the hold. And Tony said, "You must have been watching the other match. It was TA who had Flair in the figure four. What are you talking about?"
I also thought Ole was on this because he said the only reason Magnum TA is the United States Heavyweight Champion is because we're the tag team champions. Ric Flair is the world heavyweight champion, and we can't hold two belts. But if we could, we'd already have that United States title. I thought, man, great heel. Always shows. I mean, am I telling the truth, Jack? That's the reason he was hated as much as he hated.
Ole Anderson was legit, and he loved to be a heel, and it showed with everything he did. And Ole was one of the better workers of his generation, too.
At some point, Arn Anderson gets mad at the referee for Magnum kind of throwing Flair over the top rope at some point, and Arn Anderson says, that referee's out of his doodle. What does that mean, guys? Out of his doodle? Is that just
brain?
Has anyone ever used that word ever on television before?
Well, I think he was looking for something with a little color to it and realized at the last minute he couldn't say that. So,
You're probably right.
But Magnum gets the Flair the figure four leg lock, like Rodney said at the end of that 10-minute. The time limit expires in that match, and that's when Ole said what he said, And Tony Schiavone was good. No, he didn't have. Yes, he had that on him. He won the match. Just good stuff, and this showed why Ric Flair again is one of the greatest, and why Magnum TA would have been world heavyweight champion if he wouldn't have had that accident, because he was coming into his own, no doubt about that. This was probably one of the best episodes of all the World Championship Wrestling shows we have done so far. I think this whole show was good. There was nothing bad about it. What do you guys think? If it was a 1 to 10, what would you give it?
9.5.
Yeah,
Rodney?
that's good. Yeah.
I say 9.5 as well. I have to take a little points off for the Barbarian Jason Walker, and not because their match is bad, it just wasn't there. So, but on our next episode, we'll look at I think it's Saturday, June 22nd, 1985. I don't watch these shows ahead of time because I don't really know what's going on from week to week, so I don't know what happens, and I will go back and look at that this week. But stick with us next episode, World Championship Wrestling. We'll talk about Saturday, June 22nd, 1985. I'm hoping David Crockett is still hurt, but I don't know. I don't know that's true.